jar, a piece of bone. More than just objects in a museum or a history book, these speak to us today perhaps more urgently than in times of their creation. In this season, Dayaw explores the objects and manuscripts that form a puzzle. One that challenges our own conceptions of who we are and what our purpose as a nation is. All are vital clues in our continuing search for our knowledge, our pride. March of 2018, the prestigious K. Branly Museum in Paris opened an exhibition of the Philippine anting-anting, the amulets and medallions that, for some Filipinos, are still sources of power and protection. The exhibit examined the unique, deep-seated spirituality that resulted when our animist beliefs melded with Catholicism. Through film clips, photographs, archival footage, and actual medallions, this first-ever international exhibition focused on the anting-anting as an indigenous response to colonialism. To many modern Filipinos, these charms and talismans are mere folk superstition. The image of supernatural abilities and invincibility, no doubt bolstered by the films of the late Ramon Revilla Sr. In these movies, we see a celluloid fantasy of the anting-anting as a source of power that often is used for purposes far from noble. Is this what the anting-anting truly promises its believers? Or are there deeper, more spiritual values that these medallions and handkerchiefs promised believers? How do these objects connect our forefathers to a self that was nobler and stronger? A self that was, in ways they could be proud of, Filipino. As objects, the anting-anting are medallions of brass, copper, or sacred wood, cast or carved with images of deities known only to the serious devotees. Others bear the images of Catholic saints and angels, the Virgin, the Nazareno, the Santo Niño, and the Holy Trinity. Handkerchiefs inscribed with images are also another form of anting-anting. Common to both medallion and handkerchiefs are the mysterious letters, anagrams, and phrases known as dasal, often derived from Latin prayers. These are the incantations that will empower the object when recited regularly. Say anting-anting and you will still be pointed to the side streets around the Quiapo Church. Here vendors sell newly made amulets from Batangas and Cavite. The stalls and the wares sold in the very shadow of Philippine Catholicism's most famous church point to the unique, syncretic nature of these talismans. Who served as researcher and assistant curator for the Paris exhibition, has had a long-standing fascination with the anting-anting.
Ang anting-anting ay likas sa ating Pilipino. Noong unang panahon, bago pa tayo sakupin ng mga Kastila, laganap na sa mga Pilipino ang anting-anting. Dahil ang mga unang nakatira rito sa Pilipinas ay relihiyong Islam at saka mga tribo. Sa salitang animism o anima, na kaluluwa, na pinaniniwalaan nila na may mga espiritu o mga bantay dito sa ating kapaligiran na kanilang tinatawag at sinasamba. Tapos, ang anting-anting na yan, ay yan yung mga bato galing sa mga halaman, mga bato galing sa kidlat, mga bulalakaw. Sa madaling salita, yan ay galing sa kalikasan ng mga gamit. Samantalang ang agimat, yan yung mga medalyon na gawa ng tao. Yan ang kanilang pagkakaiba. Bali nung sinakop tayo ng mga Kastila, kinbinsi nila yung mga raha at saka yung mga reyna na magpasakop sa Kristyanismo. Ngayon, yung mga babaylan at saka yung mga mananambal, sila yung consultant ng mga raha at saka mga reyna nung panahong iyon. Ngayon, dun lumabas yung konsepto nung agimat. Bale, nagkaroon ng kombinasyon ng animismo at saka ng Kristyanismo. Pinag-isa yon. Doon lumabas yung mga medalya na kumpwesto ng sinaunang Pilipino at ng Kristyanismo. Sa panahon ngayon, lagana pa rin yan dito sa atin, sa Pilipinas. Dahil siyempre, malalim ang pinag-ugatan yan eh. Makikita ito siyempre dito ang sentro ng pananampalataya dito sa bundok Banahaw. Dito sila pumupunta upang palakasin yung kanilang mga agimat o anting-anting. Sinisimbolo din ng anting-anting yung pagiging malapit natin sa kalikasan. Dahil nung unang panahon pa naman ng ating mga ninuno wala pa naman mga santo nun walang mga rebulto Kumbaga, sumasamba tayo sa kalikasan Yun ang representasyon ng anting-anting para sa atin.
Disaster Watch. Alamin ang mga dapat ilagay sa go bag bilang paghahanda sa anumang sakuna. Maglagay ng tubig na maiinom at mga pagkaing hindi madaling masira. Maglaan ng espasyo para sa first aid kit at survival kit para sa mga hindi inaasahang pangyayari. Huwag kalimutan ang toiletries para mapanatili ang kalinisan sa katawan. Samahan din ang mga damit at beddings na magtatagal ng ilang araw. At para ligtas at may alam, magdala ng personal protective equipment at mga teknikal na gamit. Sa panahon ng kalamidad, dapat laging listo.
For serious believers in the anting-anting, owning a powerful medal does not begin and end when one buys one in Quiapo. The process of empowering the medallion demands much more than just purchase. Physical fortitude, sacrifice, a communion with nature at its most sacred. These are all asked from believers, and it begins with a trip to the sacred mountain of Banahaw. At the foot of the mountain, we met with carver Rodel Basilio. His pieces are carved from a sacred wood called dignum, which for many believers is a more potent material for their talismans. His story traces a transformation from a skilled commercial artisan to a believer whose skills now serve a deeper purpose.
Noong araw, ang pinakatrabaho ko talaga ng araw, nagmumural ako. Yung gumagawa ako ng malaking picture, mga PJ movie, mga ganun ang inaano namin. Kaya nga lang noong medyo noon, sa kulay, tsaka yung nalalanghap kong chemical dun sa tsaka nagkaroon ng mga matitingkad na para bagang yung kulay blue, kulay pula, pinaghahalo-halo namin. Para yung mata ko nasira. Medyo nagkaroon ng labo na hindi ko maintindihan kung bakit naging blurred. Yung parang hamog. Ganon. Di, sa kakaano ko rito, may napagtanungan ako isang pumunta ako doon sa Ina ng Awa. May Ina ng Awa dyan. Meron dyan may pumapatak na tubig na may nakakapagsabi daw ng miraculous yun. Para bagang hiwaga nga. Medyo lumamig yung pakiramdam ng mata ko. Tapos pinulit ko ulit yun 3 times. Sabi ko medyo okay na nga. Sabi ko parang kakaiba. Tsaka yung ko noon, ibang pakiramdam ko noon. Di sa Makatuwid, sa buong maghapon na yun lang ginagawa ko. Di umuwi uli ako sa Santa Cruz sa amin. Di pinakikiramdaman ko sa sarili ko, medyo lumilinaw nga yung paningin ko, medyo yung medyo kumbaga sa nakikita ko na yung kulay.
Rodel turned his back on life in the city and stayed in Banahaw.
Ang una kong ginawa noon, may nakita ako ng kahoy. Kasi mahilig ako sa art Gumawa ako ng trespiko. Trespiko na ang inaano ko lang noon, kinukudkod ko lang sa mga bato-bato ng araw. Tapos medyo nilagyan ko lang. Kasi artistic kasi ako konting lang, nilalagyan ko na ng mga itsura. Nilagyan ko ng mata. Katulad ng mga ganito. Halimbawa ginagawa ko yung ganito. Nagdadasal muna at nagtitirik muna kami ng kandila doon sa aming chapel para magkaroon ng aliwanag, kagandahan at saka yung kung sino man yung pagbibigyan ko nito magkakaroon ng tanglaw sa kanya. Para wag ibig sabihin ginagamit lang nila akong instrumento para sa kanilang mga pansariling adikain, yung mga pansarili nilang kagustuhan na ikabubuti naman nila. Sa dami na rin ng binigyan ko ng ganito, awa naman ng Diyos, wala naman nagsasabing negative na lahat sila nagsasabi okay daw, okay. Kaya naniniwala ako na ito'y talagang gabay din ako ng mga banal na Diyos Espiritu Santo sa paggawa ko ng ganito. Ang unang-unang tinatanong kapag halimbawa hihingi sa akin, naniniwala ka ba sa Diyos? Ayun ang unang-unang, bakit ka naghahanap ng ganito? Pangatlo, ang ibig ko saan mo gagamitin. Kasi pagka hindi mo nasabi sa akin kung saan mo gagamitin yan, hindi kita mabibigyan.
The pilgrims who buy his amulets are only taking the first step towards the realization of the amulet's power. The journey through Banahaw's holy places sanctifies not only their anting-anting, but their very being as well.
Kung tayo naman ay aakyat sa Mount Banahaw, ang unang-una nating pupuntahan dyan o unang-una natin dadaanan dyan ay yung mismong pintuan ng Banahaw. Walang iba kundi yung simbahan ng Dolores o Our Lady of Sorrow. Diyan mananalangin ka muna, hihingi ka ng kapahintulutan, nagabayan ka, paakyat dito sa bundok Banahaw na walang mangyari sa iyong masama o may gumambala sa iyong hindi nakikita. At kasabay nun, ang pagtitirik ng 3 kandila sa mga baguhang palang aakyat. Pangalawa ay yung pagpunta doon sa mga bukal, kapares ng sa bukal ng San Bernardo o kaya ang bukal dito sa Santa Lucia. Isa yan. Dahil sa pamamagitan ng tubig na yan, paniniwala ng mga nakararami dito ay hinuhugasan yung kasalanan mo. Ang pangatlo, ang kuweba ng presintahan. Diyan sa kuweba ng presintahan na yan, ay kailangan may dala ka ring kandila na kung saan yung puweta ng kandilang ito ay siyang gagawin mong panulat dun sa pader ng kuweba na yon bilang panulat sa iyong pangalan at sa iyong kapanganakan. Isinisimbolo niyan yung pagpipresenta sa iyo o pagpapakilala mo dito sa bundok Banahaw. Para sa akin, ang Banahaw sa isang salita ay maihalin tulad ko sa isang dambana. Bakit? Dahil ito yung sentro nung pananampalataya nung mga sinaunang Pilipino na kapares din natin na naniniwala sa mga anting-anting at saka sa mga agimat at sa mga natural na na pananampalataya na walang rebulto, walang pare o pastor o anuman, di ba? Kumbaga andun yung kasimplihan na napapalipit ka sa Diyos, sa Panginoon sa pamamagitan dito sa Mount Banahaw.
The landscape of Banahaw, the all-encompassing presence of nature, brings to mind the presence of the mag-aanting supreme being, the Infinito Dios, the pre-Hispanic Bathala, a deity who created the universe and all the spirits and saints, even the Holy Trinity of Christendom. His story is seen in the medallion popularly known as the Infinitong Nagtatago sa Bato, the Bathala hidden in stone. The design of this medallion is one of the oldest of the anting-anting. Unlike other motifs which feature Catholic saints, the Infinito medallion is uniquely Filipino. It also tells an intriguing story. An ancient god who allows himself to be baptized by his own creation, but will only let the tip of his finger be subjected to the Catholic rite, a clue surely to the hidden animism that still pervades our faith today.
Join us for your nightly news fix and stay informed with our comprehensive coverage of news, business, politics, current events, and more from our network of journalists across the Philippines and the rest of the world. Anchored by William Theo and Charms Espina. PTV News Tonight, Mondays to Fridays, only here on PTV.
Villegas is a professor of history and anthropology with a keen interest in the social sciences. His book, You Shall Be as Gods, examines the anting-anting as a social phenomenon, as an instrument of empowerment for many Filipinos who sought justice and freedom.
Messianic cults date back up to the 19th century. As early as 1840s, meron ng millenarian curse. One of these was the Cofradia de San Jose, founded by Apolinario de la Cruz, or known as Hermano Pule. Well, they use anting-anting in the sense that they use portraits and relics of saints to protect them against harm and against evil. And they became so controversial that the Spanish government, the Spanish colonial government, was alarmed because they were, banding together with the purpose of establishing a new religion, which is not really in conflict with the Catholic Church, but founded by Filipinos. So therefore, it was more or less like the start of a nationalist movement to remove itself from the church, from the Catholic Church. So parang it's like they were trying to establish a Filipino Catholic Church. So it's not really against Catholicism, but it's not really a movement to drive away Catholicism from the Philippines, but to have Catholicism adopted by Filipinos in their own brand of faith and belief. So therefore, the use of anting-anting by this group is already a Filipino element, because even before the coming of the Spaniards, the Filipinos were already believing in amulets and objects of power. So therefore, the use of anting-anting by the Cofradia, headed by Hermano Pule, is a totally different religious approach, because by that time they were already synthesizing the belief of the Catholic to the with the belief of the local religion, which is folk Catholicism. And also it's like a recurring theme in Philippine social history. For example, in 1930s, there was a Sakdalista movement which also used anting-anting against the colonial government. And also in 1967, there was a very controversial group called Dapayang Malaya, headed by Valentin de los Santos from Bicol, who used also anting-anting to overthrow the Marcos government. It is a very populist in nature. When you say populist, it means it became a driving force of the masses to band together to fight against a common enemy. For example, the use of anting-anting by the Filipinos throughout history from the Spanish period up to the present time is a revitalizing factor, which means that it is a unifying factor. The belief in a powerful object or powerful objects is a universal revitalizing factor, wherein there is a symbol. The anting-anting became a symbol, the symbol to unify themselves against a common enemy. So therefore, the anting-anting is not only an object, but as a popular symbol of power, of struggle against a common enemy.
For Dennis, the popular present-day notion of the anting-anting as a quick means to success or notoriety is a shallow one. It does not do justice to the inherent spirituality that our forefathers imbued in their talismans.
When I dug deep into the anting-anting phenomenon, it occurred to me that there was more to the belief than winning girls or winning lotto or protecting yourself against hold-uppers. There's more to that. It's like a religion in itself. It's more like you have God with you. You can contain God within a medallion or within a scapular. So therefore, if we talk about anting-anting, we are not talking about objects of faith alone, but objects of power that can sustain our existence, that can sustain ourselves.
To contain God in metal, and to have that God with you in a way that is both powerful and very personal. As a symbol of our history and culture, the anting-anting speaks for the Filipinos who have been most marginalized and oppressed. In these medallions, we see the common Filipinos' desire for a society that is just, fair, and God-fearing. We see also their ultimate goal. More than protection or power or success, it was pagbabalik loob that these talismans offered, the return to our truer and better selves. This is Loren Legarda, hoping always to be guided by Dayaw, our knowledge, our pride.